Not least.
I'll attempt to speak quickly.
Oh, you are 10 minutes ahead of time, so.
Oh, you don't want to give me more time than I've been allocated.
No. You've still got 5 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for the opportunity. So, give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. I'm sure I don't need to explain the wisdom in this ancient proverb. And yet the people of Christchurch have been presented with a plan that appears to me to be sell the fishing gear. And why are we being asked to do this? From where I sit, it seems to be to plug an imagined budget shortfall which only occurs if we stick to a self-imposed and hastily agreed timeframe with regard to the rebuild. But I'd just like to touch on a few kind of major issues or areas in the long-term plan, in no particular order really. Horizontal infrastructure. Do we really want it back just the way it was? Stormwater systems that view rain as a problem to be flushed away rather than a resource to be harvested and stored and used. Sewer systems that took half of our pristine drinking water and added poo to it before sending it into the estuary. Systems that mix grey and black water, thus more than doubling the treatment burden of Bromley. Potable water regulations that prohibit the use of rainwater for both drinking and bathing. Surely we can do better than what we had before. Transport. Cities based on mass transit systems spend about 6% of their GDP on transport. Car-based cities hemorrhage at more than 12% GDP. Active transport modes, walking, cycling, etc., not only reduce GDP spend, they also recycle that money within the city's own economy while increasing health and well-being for all its residents. Active and mass transport should always be the priority for transport budgets, and I really am just endorsing what you've put in the plan there. Housing and anchor projects. There was a really big envisioning process, the community visioning process, where the community had an opportunity and took it with both hands to give you a clear steer as to the priorities and the timeframes that were important. And let's just ensure that the long-term plan is actually cognitive of those views. It would appear that anchor project timeframe, just like the last speaker said, is one of the most effective tools Council has to balance the budget and free up building resources for all the little projects, because it's the little projects that are in fact rebuilding the fabric of the city. When repairing and replacing council housing assets, the goal should be to make these areas complete communities by allowing affordable, commercial and other property types to be deployed on the land. One of the keys to affordable housing, from where I sit, seems to be making land available without private ownership. Council has much land in good locations, be it car parks or abandoned facilities, and these could be used in this way. So I suppose really my key message is that core infrastructure, be it energy, water, transport, housing, community facilities or waste, needs to be appropriate to our future, not our past. Thank you.
Okay. Questions?
Excuse me, did you finish already?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Well, he's left time for...
That's never happened.
No. Yes, it did. It did happen a couple of times.
Not in Chris's lifetime.
No.
Oh, I see.
I can usually spend 5 minutes just saying good afternoon.
So
Yeah.
you're already known to Vicky?
I am.
Right, okay. Pauline?
Thank you. Good submission. I'm just wondering that deferring or requesting to cancel some big projects, is there a risk that we could be seen as a council that's slowing down the recovery, do you think? Do you think that's a risk?
I'm sure that there are some people who would like to try and spin it that way. But I think, to quote from the previous submitter, I think there is a very strong economic argument that says by making it a longer play with the rebuild rather than a short, sharp in and out, you can actually achieve a much better economic spin of money within the community.
Excellent.
Yep. Ali?
Just further And I totally understand your rationale behind that, but what does that actually do for the amenity for people who have been the way they have been and living in this city the way they have been for nearly 5 years? Don't you think we need to get on and do those things? What I'm asking, I guess, the question is, what about the amenity and staying here and living here versus the economic argument that you're putting up too? How much longer can people live in this kind of environment?
Without the amenity of those key facilities.
No, without footpaths and without roads that are reasonable.
I meant the general
we're talking about
amenity of
amenity
living.
of the environment and that people live, walk and play in. I mean, one guy said, what's the point of having cycleways if I can't teach my kid to cycle down the street that I live in?
Yeah. So how you balance that? I think on balance, certainly I view it, but I would think that there's a reasonable chunk that would view that the quality of the amenity that you're getting, and if the quality of that future amenity is communicated well, and I have strong buy-in to that, then the idea of waiting a little bit longer for it, it's not an uncommon theme to the good things take time, and you need to be patient for quality, and all of those sorts of sayings have been with me all my life. So I think the same applies. I mean, everything got broken at one time. What do you fix first? I mean, you got the water running and the sewage kind of working. It appears to be working, but I know how it's being done in the background. That was the immediate stuff. When it comes to how you feel about having to walk along a broken footpath to a library facility or something like that, I think I would rather have the library facility than the footpath.
But what if you can't get there? I mean, we've had people for more than 4 years who cannot walk down their footpath because they're on they've got a pram, or they've got a motorised scooter, or they've got a kid on a scooter or a bicycle. I don't know if you've had a look over the east, but the streets are just...
I travel over there every week. So,
right.
yeah,
so, I mean, you know what I'm talking about. It's appalling. And I just, I really have had my eyes open, and I live there too. I think I'd become immune to it because I see it all the time. It's just impossible for some people to get around. I don't know. I mean, it seems to me that what you're saying is that good things take time, and yes, I grew up with that expression ringing in my ear all the time. But I think what you're talking about is things like, the Metro Sports and stadium and convention centres, although I do think that we do need a convention centre. It might be too big and in the wrong place, but it's, we do need one.
To give you an example on something like that, covered stadium. Dunedin's got a wonderful one. I don't know if you've ever been down there and used it.
No.
But it's a fantastic facility that's been filled on 3 occasions, and they were all...
rock concerts?
No, All Black Test.
Were they?
Yeah, it's the only thing that's actually filled it completely. I think Elton John came really close. But, that's a facility that's completely underused in the context of the South Island or New Zealand. So do we need to have one the same straight away when you could actually utilise that one?
I don't think that there is a single submitter. I don't think we've had the rugby union who's come here and asked for the stadium at all. I mean, every submitter who's mentioned it has asked for it to be put out or ditched. Right. Always one.
Yeah, I'll pay his bus ticket to Dunedin, and yeah. Well, I mean, it's a wonderful facility that they can't afford, So
less than 4
yeah,
hours.
I think I would prioritise as active transport, mass transit over. So a footpath would get repaired in front of a road, and I think by viewing. Or just taking a moment just to view things, particularly with that horizontal infrastructure, the way we've dealt with stormwater historically.
Yeah.
And if you view that, as a freshwater resource, then maybe you'll do things differently.
Yeah,
Ravi
and I
spoke
think
earlier. I think
from a
speaks
housing
to
point of view, I don't know why we don't do that as a matter of course. But the other thing is that we can use the residential red zone opportunity to actually clean up what goes into our rivers too through natural wetlands. So there are things that we'll be able to do because of some of the things that have happened as well.
Yeah.
But anyway, thank you very much, and that's taken us to our
End of a very long day. So
we have had a very long day, but I'll tell you what, I've actually enjoyed today, and maybe it's because it's a Saturday. It's been a really interesting day of submissions. Yeah. And look, that's what's come clear to me is that people, we're thinking high-level strategic is what we're thinking for an LTP, but people have come here asking us to fix things that ought to be fixed, and I'm thinking there has to be something better, a better way of processing this. But people actually like coming along, and they like the fact that it's live streamed as well. So, maybe Vicky's just said, why don't we have Saturday fix-it sessions and just put on a morning where people can come along and just raise their issues. It'd be great. No.